have absolutely no idea. Oh my God. I have to tell you something about the Backstreet Boys.
Oh gosh. Okay, yes.
They do a charter cruise, and they did it on the Brilliance of the Seas, and it was insane.
Alrighty. Hello and welcome back to your favorite podcast, because I know it's your favorite podcast. New to the city, to Shane Graham. Tell me what is up. We're rocking the hats today because
Boy bands.
Boy bands.
Yeah, yours is on backwards and mine is like the douche lord.
2002.
Up and to the left.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I feel like you should go on the TV show Next like this. Like, you know what I'm talking about? Did that just bring back like a flood of memories?
Yes, literally. I just went, like, I blacked out for a second. I love trash TV. And I will say that British trash TV, we should do a whole episode on it, is like way better than American trash TV.
Agreed.
But Next, it's like a whole other like
that's like
subgenre.
That was like peak 2003 trash MTV. And I was here for it.
And, like, they, like, freeze them while they're walking down the, like, steps. And it's, like burned her ex-boyfriend's car to the ground. Likes lemonade.
You know that I was sitting there at 7, 8 years old being like, what would my list be like? Like, that's what I was like. What are my 3 defining characteristics that if I were to go on a TV show about a TV dating show, what would my 3 characteristics be?
Okay, you pick 3 characteristics for me, and I'll pick 3 characteristics for you.
Okay.
Joey's walking down the stairs. He freezes. The 3 bullet points that come up are made the outfit that he's wearing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Has severe social anxiety.
I knew that one was coming.
And
I'll fill the last one for you.
Okay, tell me.
Gets tattoos on a whim.
Oh, good one.
Yeah.
Good one.
Yours would be equally as excited as terrified to be here. Has to have 3 cups of coffee before she begins to speak to someone in the morning.
True. Okay.
And you fill the last one.
Just generally hilarious and funnier than you.
I love it.
Viewer.
But it's so true because, like, there was always, like, one really crazy one that was, like, didn't make any sense. There was one super, like, generic one that was, like you said, like, likes lemonade.
Yeah.
And then like, one, like, super random one. It was peak trash TV. You know, MTV had, like, the best dating shows. What was the other one?
Yes.
With, like, the parents? Parental control. Oh
my God, and the parents pick who you date?
Yes.
What about the one that was, like, the girl, like, goes into your room when you're not there and,
oh my God,
picks
yes.
who she wants to date based on what their room looked like?
I don't remember what that was
called. And then
called.
have you ever seen Baggage?
Yes. Oh my God, yes. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning and it's on, like...
Baggage is so good. I'm rewatching Girls right now. I say rewatching. I'm watching it for the first time because I've never seen it. Mm-hmm. And Joe Shoshana.
Yeah.
The, like, neurotic one.
Yeah.
She is, like, sitting in her room watching Baggage. And she explains Baggage so well. It's such a good show. It's so trash.
I miss MTV early 2000s trash, like, reality television.
MTV.
It was peak. So tell me, what's going on? Any important updates you got for me?
I got rejected from a place to live. That's pretty much, like, the most exciting thing that's happened.
Fabulous. Don't love to hear that, but we're moving on.
You were fully invested. Like, you were I was texting, like, you and my mom and Olivia, mm-hmm. and I was like, what do I do? Because I had 3, so I thought that I had to move out of this place by May, mm-hmm. and so that's, like, a month away. which is wild to think of.
I know.
So I was like trying to find a place, and I found like 3 places. I went to see them one right after the other on the same night. And the second place, it was like this gorgeous house, and it was like 4 girls that lived there, and the room was really nice. There was a garden. It was like right on Clapham High Street. I like felt like I vibed with them. I was like getting more excited the more that I talked to you about it. We called it the Bluebird House because the room literally like was full of windows, and it looked like bluebirds would dress me in the morning if I lived there. And there was like a big blue door. It was like the front door. I shouldn't keep talking about it because I don't live there. But I was like, the more I was like talking about it, the more excited that I got. It was like really close to work. Like my commute would be like 10 minutes on the tube or something. So I texted the girl and I was like, listen, like I felt like we vibed, like I'm super into it. And she was like, I'll let you know. And she was like, we think that you would be a really good fit as well. And then I found out that I didn't get it. But then she was like, basically she was like, we decided to go with this other girl, but also like you're new here and I like really want to hang out with you, maybe like get brunch or like go to the park, grab a coffee or something. So I did not get the role of new roommate, but I did get the role of like new best friend. So, you know, positives. And it's all about what the universe wants for me, right? Like she wasn't meant to be, and that's fine. We can't be mad about that. So, and then I found out that I can stay here if I want to until June. So I love this place. I love my roommates. And now I'm not like rushed to find a place. We can find the right place for us.
When you first told me that like they went with somebody else, I was like, oh my God, like fate. Like that was like my message. And I was just like, you know, to this point, you've gotten to where you've gotten just because like you've put yourself in the right path. You've kind of put yourself in the way of like making sure you have the right opportunities, and I think you're kind of just doing the same, and I think you'll end up eventually where you need to be. And who knows, like
it's such a nice thing when you like surrender yourself to like what's meant for you. You know what I mean? It's like kind of hard to get mad when things don't work out, because then you're like, oh, like
that's just it. There's something else.
I will say this is the first thing that
hasn't gone right.
I've wanted that I haven't gotten.
Welcome.
And like, I know I was gonna.
I have a plate of cookies for you.
Which makes me sound so terrible, but like, you know that I'm kidding.
Yeah, no, I'm trust me. At this point, like I have to laugh at myself, because if not, I will have a serious mental breakdown.
Absolute mental breakdown. Yeah. If we're not laughing, we're crying.
Yes. So the last, I think it was like probably about 5 days ago, we received an email, which at this point it had already been like 10 days, and we were already like, you know, what's going on? Like we thought that it would take a lot quicker once we submitted it. Which I've come to know in this process not to expect anything, because it will only lead to disappointment. So we got an email, and it was like, we have received your application, and we're reviewing for consideration, which basically means I got to the top of the pile. They have opened my application, and they are checking on all the documents. They are literally going through it and making sure everything is
calling
right.
the landlord, asking about the measurements
of the bathroom to make sure it's right. Yep. So they basically are considering me in this very moment, which is if I think about it too long, it makes me want to shit myself, because I literally, like, I just let myself become really overwhelmed. Which I'm already like, okay, it's been a few days. Like, I'm waiting until the end of the weekend, which I don't think they're working on the weekend anyways. But
they wouldn't, yeah.
Jacob wants to call and just to like check in on it, but I'm just like, I think this is like the first time that I've sat down and realized like they're actually like considering an application. To get the email saying like, no, like the government is looking at me, is the stuff of nightmares.
So maybe you should do your hair then.
Yeah, maybe I should. You know that like I would be like that. I would be rejected. I'd be like, it's because I didn't do my hair.
They like Google what's it? When
Google,
can,
like they Google
the
Maps it.
Yeah, they're like, ew, Joey.
I guess someone didn't want to put in the effort today.
No, like, you know when they drive by and they just take pictures? What if you were, like, when they were driving by that big roundabout that you were, like, screaming and crying while you were driving around? They got, like, a little picture.
I was just, like, in tears. Oh my God. But so we're like definitely in the works now. The process is moving. I'm just now waiting to see
the next thing
happens.
that you hear is like the notification that it's on its way back to you.
Correct.
And then they still don't tell you if you got it or not. You don't find out until you get your passport back and it either has a visa in it or it doesn't.
So
which is just like, I can't even I remember, but it was just me. Like, it wasn't even my, like, if I didn't get my visa, I would just continue living my life. Like, it's your entire life.
Yeah. I think that's the most terrifying thing is the thing I've thought about it. And, like, it's not something that I've really put a lot of, like, energy into or thought into because I don't really find it necessary. But it's like, you know, like, what if it does come back and what if I don't get it? Like, what happens then? But I don't need to put that energy out in the universe. I don't need to think about that. It's not something that I need to consider because I know that we've done everything right. I know that, and like, if it does come back and it is rejected, we find another way. We work it out, you know?
Yep.
Like,
yep.
I'm not going to put my energy into worrying about that.
But it's fine because like, you're going to get it because like,
it's meant to be.
You just are. Yeah. Like, it is meant to be. You just are.
Can I indulge you in a little secret?
Please.
I was never into boy bands at all.
Okay, I feel like I missed out on a lot of them because I'm Canadian, so like a lot of the craze never really got all the way up there. But it's so interesting because the UK and the US have both, I mean, they've been influenced by each other, but they both have very distinct paths. And also, I didn't realize that some of the songs that I really, really like were actually songs from boy bands. Uptown Girl had no fucking idea that it was a boy band.
Yeah. Because, like, we can't only talk about the early 2000s. I mean, you have to talk about all the eras of boy bands because they've been around.
Here's the thing. I feel like the Beatles was OG boy band. And, like, the Jackson 5 and the Osmonds as well.
Beatles.
Yes.
Number one. Because we cannot talk about boy bands until we talk about the Beatles. Because they were like the OG.
The craze.
That was like OG.
The absolute, what was it called? Beatlemania?
Beatlemania, which is like now like, oh my God, I watched this TED Talk and it was about like girls going crazy over boy bands and like how that like has influenced like culture and like how society sees like teenage girls. And I think that started all the way back to the Beatles. I think the Beatles were the OG, which there was like, don't get me wrong, there was like groups, there was musical groups in way before that, but I think like the Beatles were like the first like boy band that sparked like widespread worldwide fan pandemonium. Yes.
I think the Beatles didn't set out to be a boy band, but I think their influence and how the craze that was set around them made other people go, oh, we need to manufacture that in other groups, thereby making a boy band with like little archetypes. Because like in every boy band you have like the heartthrob, the shy one, the bad boy, the like older brother type, whatever. And it's like,
yeah, totally. That's like what producers look for. That's what like they want to make
like
sure.
A character.
Yeah. And how you market and like has bled into like girl groups as well. Like it's not just boy bands at this point.
100%. So like when I think of boy bands, I think of like the early 2000s, right? Like NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, Hanson, the Moffats. Were you like super into the Moffats and Hanson, or was that like a Canadian thing?
I think that may have been Canadian. I know Hanson, but like I was never.
Whoever wrote Mbop, like I'm taking off my sideways hat to you.
Yes.
Because congrats.
Because how?
Not only does everyone know the words, no one knows the actual word.
Nope. Not at all.
I want to make that my karaoke song because, wow.
Yeah. I found that like yeah. I found that like a lot of like late 90s, early 2000s UK versus US like boy bands was a lot of like call and response. Like it was like very much like the US is doing this, so the UK is going to do this, and the UK is doing this, so the US is going to do this. Like there was a lot of like, I found one article that was like literally like, here is your, if you like the US version of this, here is the UK version of this, which is like so crazy to me because like it was like literally like, here's one, and the UK has the same one just in the UK. It was a lot of like, they're successful, so we're going to create basically the same thing.
I didn't realize, again, like how many absolute bangers came from the UK boy band scene. Like Bay City Rollers, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Bye Bye Baby. That's my favorite. And then Take That is,
Take That.
I want you back for good. Want you back. Want you back. Like, what a fucking good song. And I had no idea it was from the UK.
Yeah.
You might be too young.
Maybe, like, I don't know.
Because, like, NSYNC and Backstreet Boys came out in, like, 1997, so I was 6. So, like, I literally, like, grew up with the Backstreet Boys. And it was, like, the main debate was, are you...
Team Backstreet Boys or Team NSYNC?
NSYNC or Team Backstreet Boys. Yeah, like, Justin Timberlake or the other, like...
Wasn't it...
No. Aaron Carter?
Aaron,
no,
Nick
Carter.
Nick Carter. Yes, we got there.
We got there eventually. Did you know that there was a boy band in Puerto Rico called Menudo, and basically they like you had to be like a certain height and in between like the certain ages, and as soon as somebody aged out or got too tall, they would just fucking replace you because that was not what the boy band vibe was. And I know that you know about Menudo. Do you know how I know? Because one of the people in that band went on to have a solo career. Ricky fucking Martin.
Ricky Martin. Yes. I did read that. Could you imagine?
They were like, you aged out, and then he was like, here's my solo career.
Like, how badass of you being like, and it's like, it's not even like you leaving to have a solo career. It's like they kicked you out and you're like, oh, how badass. How badass. You know?
Yeah. It's just like some weird, you know what I find so interesting is like the whole concept of like a boy band was to market to teen girls. Like that's how much power they have over consumerism, or like, you know, that they were doing all of this stuff. I mean, it's at least 4 decades, maybe 5 decades now that boy bands have been like a lucrative kind of business venture. And it's because of 12 to 14-year-old girls that are just
absolutely
crazy.
Let's talk about the fact that One Direction was anything that anybody was talking about in the late 2000s.
And it started with, like, kids.
Yes.
Because I remember the girls that I used to teach at the dance studio being obsessed with One Direction. And then by the time it got to, like, ships, it was everybody. That's what I'm saying is, like, these, like, young girls are influencing pop culture. And
also, I think
it's either a good thing or a fucking bad thing.
Yeah. Something to also mention, I think with One Direction especially, and I think very unique to them, is like that was also kind of the start of like social media and like social media coming up and like very much influencing pop culture with, you know, like Facebook. And I think like Instagram started around that time, and like people were creating fan pages. And then when they broke up, are you kidding me? Like all these fan pages like were like devastated.
What's their like best song? One Direction. The story of my life, I take her home.
And then
I don't know any other ones.
There was one earlier one. There was one like that's something with the word that's
The way,
That's what makes you beautiful. Hello.
That's what makes you beautiful.
And like, I feel like Harry Styles now has like exploded into pop culture even more. Like,
yeah, but he kind of got rid of that boy band persona. I feel like the persona of like a boy band is like the kind of like lyrics and like bop dip bop bop, like sounds instead of lyrics,
actual lyrics,
and like half talking and half singing, and like a really catchy like bridge or like a hook or something. Yeah,
like definitely like electronic, like especially like in the late 90s, early 2000s, like that very like synthy, like electronic, upbeat dance music kind of deal.
Auto-tuned.
Yes.
I think New Kids on the Block, they like lip synced, didn't they?
Yes, they did. Which, like, when you're dancing that much, I mean, you know, when we're dancing that much, I can't breathe. I can't imagine someone trying to sing and dance at the same time. So, like, understood.
How important do you think it was for them to find the right sound versus the right character?
I was just about to say that. I was going to say, to be honest, I don't think their singing is the end-all be-all. I don't think it was ever, like, really a staple in what makes a boy band successful. I think it was way more about them being able to be marketed and hitting the zeitgeist right, you know, like making sure that like you're marketing yourself to like that age group that like everyone will be able to fall in love individually and with the whole group, divided, and being able to be like, well, I like this one, and no, but I like this one, but I like this one. Like, I think that's the most important, because that's them having conversations, and obviously the more conversations you have about someone, the more successful that they are. You know?
If you had to pick one guy from NSYNC to marry, who would you pick? Pull them up.
I feel like I'd rather have a drink and go home by myself nowadays.
You would rather die than hook up with somebody from NSYNC?
I think so.
Okay, what about the Backstreet Boys?
No, Backstreet Boys was... Hold on. Let's.
Nick
was that
Carter?
Nick Carter. That's right.
Yeah.
So it was Nick Carter, Howie Dorough, AJ McLean, Brian Luttrell, and Kevin Richardson.
A bunch of 5-piece McNobodies.
Oh.
I literally cannot picture a single one of their faces.
Nope, I can't either. Was Kevin Richardson, didn't he, like, go on to, like, make another band or something?
I have absolutely no idea. Oh, my God. I have to tell you something about the Backstreet Boys.
Oh, gosh. Okay, yes.
They do. Okay, speaking of, like, boy bands, these people do a charter cruise, like, every year or once every couple years. And they did it on the Brilliance of the Seas. It was a 4-day cruise to like France or something. And it was while me and my cast were on board. And it was insane.
Was it?
This wasn't like, it's not like we were doing this cruise in like 1999. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like this was 2018. And do you know what is so crazy is, so like they had like a couple concerts and stuff, and then they had like some like Q&A panels. The mostly women that were on this cruise it was like cruising with a bunch of 14-year-olds. Like it was wild. Like,
what was like the age range like?
It was literally from like 18 to 65. Like there was no
specific.
But they were all just so intense, and they got these like wristbands. And so like some of them had like, it depended on like how much
color,
you paid, or like what color you got and where you got to sit in the theater. And like, so we had to do doors, and like, so some people tried to like sneak into both the like 7 and the 9 of like the Q&A, but like you had to tell this person who paid like $4,000 to see a Backstreet Boys cruise that like they couldn't come into the theater, and I was just like some shitty like person. I was like, I don't really give a fuck. But you know what's so wild is I never went to like one of the concerts. I think I stayed and like watched like a song or two, but we weren't really allowed. Mm-hmm. But we stayed and watched one of the Q&As, and Nick was like I don't know if he was like the heartthrob archetype, but he was like the young one archetype, you know? And they were kind of like, oh, like Nick,
playing
the baby of the group. He's like in his mid 40s.
Like he is a full grown man.
Telling everybody that he is the baby of the group. Like his wife and like children are off like backstage trying on my costumes. You know what I mean? Like, it was so weird. And he was like, yeah, like I wrote this like screenplay about like the Backstreet Boys get like, I honestly, I think it was like abducted by aliens or like some shit like that. Like
you had you fell asleep for like 5 days and it was just all like a fever dream.
It pretty much was a fever dream. And like we luckily, like my cast and I, we were kind of on the same vibe of like, yes, we really liked the Backstreet Boys when like we were kids and we didn't like have say in like what color shirt we wore that day. Right. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we all went to dinner at Izumi, and I think it was like Howie and like his wife and like another one. They were like sitting with their manager, also having dinner, and all of us were just like not looking at them, but like also like kind of sneaking peeks and being like, oh, I just don't get it. Yeah. Because that was like 30 years ago. And like, why have all of these people around me like spent so much money? And like, they were all obviously staying on the ship as well, but they were like in the suites on deck 10 and like nobody else was allowed on deck 10. And they had security guards standing at like the front of the hallways because girls would just wait and mob them the second they like left the hallway. But again, they're like I do not understand how this like translates to the now times. It was absolutely wild. And then pretty much all of the crew hated them because they got drunk one night and went to the bridge and then pressed the button where like the captain goes into all of the cabins to make announcements, you know, when there's like a fire. And one of them was like, there's like a party on the pool deck, like blah, 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 and went on and on and on for like 2 minutes.
So you guys heard it in your rooms as well, right?
Yes. But like the difference is I didn't pay thousands of dollars, so I don't care about what you
were just pissed off that you got woken up.
Especially not at 2 a.m. Oh, we were so mad. We were like, fuck the Backstreet Boys.
And especially a drunk middle-aged white man.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. So that is my one experience with the Backstreet Boys, Backstreet Men. There's one more thing about boy bands that needs to be said. Do you know anything about Lou Pearlman?
Mm-mm. Should I?
Okay. So yes, everyone should.
And you're going to tell me right now.
Monster. I'm going to tell you. Sit on down. Let me adjust my cap. Yeah. Okay, so basically Lou Pearlman was like the creator of a shit ton of American boy bands. And I think his like UK equivalent would be kind of Simon Cowell.
Okay, yes.
Because he created like I think it was Boyzone and Westlife.
Boyzone, yes.
So Simon Cowell was like, oh, I'm gonna take all these like cute I don't think he said cute. He was like, I'm gonna like talented boys, here we go. Yeah. We're gonna make like a shit ton of money and I'm gonna like manage them or produce them or create them. I'm not
which is like creepy, slightly creepy.
Okay, so Simon Cowell was like, I don't know very much about whether or not he did a very good job with it. Lou Pearlman, on the other hand, is responsible for creating NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, like all of the bands that we know and love. The difference is, I think Lance Bass does this like tell-all. He's a lot more vocal about like what Lou Pearlman did.
Okay.
And I think it was a lot of manipulation and it was a lot of embezzling the fuck out of these young minors that were making a fuck ton of money.
Millions.
And basically Lou Pearlman was stealing it all, and he was super, super rich, and Backstreet Boys were poor as fuck.
Because he was basically stealing all their money.
Yeah. Lou Pearlman is fucking terrible, and he somehow got away with, like, a lot of shit. I don't know if he's in jail. He might not be. Hold on. I'm going to Google him really quick.
Also, just the name, it just sounds slimy, doesn't it?
Okay, yeah. He is in, yeah, he got 25 years in prison. So, oh, he died. He's dead. Okay, bye. You know what you did. Okay, so he was the creator of Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. In 2006, he was accused of running one of the largest and longest running Ponzi schemes in U.S. history, leaving more than $300 million in debt. He forced the boys to call him Big Papa. Yeah, he is the fucking worst.
So he was an absolute creep, basically. You know that all I can think of him, like, looking like? Danny DeVito in Matilda.
He kind of does it blonde.
That's all I immediately think of.
So basically, he got inspired by New Kids on the Block and their success. And he was like, I'm going to do that, except I have no talent nor the resources. So basically, he started a company called Transcontinental Records in order to mimic the boy band business model and, like, make all these fucking boy bands. And Pearlman was paid as a sixth member of the Backstreet Boys, aka, like, he got 1/6 of all of their income. But the Backstreet Boys, like, sued him because they only got paid, like, $300,000 and he was making literal millions off of them. Like, he's a dirtbag through and through. He made this movie. Okay, if you have made it to this, like, far in the episode and you, like, are interested in boy bands, Lou Pearlman made this movie. I need to look up what it's called because it is the worst thing I have ever seen. It is insane. Hold on. Okay, it is called Longshot. Okay, so basically, Lou Pearlman made this movie. It's called Longshot, and there is every single boy band, celebrity imaginable in this fucking movie. Britney Spears is in this movie. Justin Timberlake, all of the NSYNC people are in this movie. All of the Backstreet Boys, all of, like, everyone. Like, I'm gonna look up the cast of Longshot and read you how many people are in this movie. So, like, one of them, like, Britney Spears plays a flight attendant. Like, one of them plays, like, the pilot on the plane. One of them is, like, sitting in a casino. Like, and then they make...
that, like, makes my skin crawl. Like...
It's awful. And then they make, like, inside jokes about how they're celebrity. Like, they try and break the fourth wall kind of thing. Oh my god, it's the worst thing. The Rock is in it. Gilbert Gottfried is in it. Like, it is a legit fucking movie. Topanga is in it. That guy from Home Improvement, the oldest brother, is in it. Not Jonathan Taylor Thomas, the other one. He's in it. Okay, basically,
everybody.
Where do you get off on, like, first of all, stealing all of this money from these boy bands who, like, they're obviously, like, working really hard and it's, like, child labor and whatever. But then he goes and makes this movie and it's, like, he puts himself in the movie and, like, and he obviously, like, doesn't pay them to be in it because, like, he's also their manager. So he's just using them for clout to, like, get. But anyway, it's taken me so long to get to this point. I forgot what my point was when I started to talk about this. But if you're into boy bands and this shit, you need to go and watch this movie because it is so bad. And if you can't find Longshot to go and watch it, go to Jamie French. She's a YouTuber and she reviews this movie and it is so fucking funny with her commentary in it. And you can kind of get the gist of what the movie is, but you need to go and, like, watch that video.
This guy just sounds like an egomaniac.
Yeah.
Like a complete and utter egomaniac.
I understand now, like, why after he kind of caught that, like, they exposed. Were like, maybe we shouldn't do, like, boy bands anymore. And now they're slowly, like, you know, starting to come back with One Direction, the Jonas Brothers and things like that. But, yeah, right in the height of, like, boy band mania, he made so much fucking money at the expense of these children. That went in a direction that I wasn't expecting, but I kind of liked it more.
Yeah, no, very interesting. In general, I think the reason why I never really, it was just, like, very strange to me that, like, 13, 14-year-old boys. Like, there was a shit ton of people, like, being like, here's what you need to do and here's what you need to look like. It's like with every, like, child pop star or even child movie star. I can't imagine how healthy that can be for anybody. I mean, I can only imagine, like, me at 12 years old and 13 years old, where nobody knew who I was. I was already, like, on the verge of a mental breakdown. Like, I can't imagine being 13 years old and having millions of people always in their business, you know?
Yeah, exploited. Okay, well, we hope that you guys liked this episode. If you did, make sure that you rate us 5 stars, leave a review, do all the things. Make sure that you don't miss any new episodes coming out. We drop a new episode every single Tuesday. Also, make sure that you follow us on all of our social media. Joey, what's our Twitter?
Our Twitter is New to the City. That's New to the City, spelled CiTea. That was my attempt at boy band singing. You're welcome.
ABC. Easiest 1, 2, 3. They're a boy band too.
They are.
Also, make sure that you wait. Yes, we have. Just think about the Jackson 5. I got very distracted.
Yes.
Also, make sure that you follow us on our YouTube page, Instagram page, and Facebook page. All of that is New to the City Podcast. That's CiTea. Also, send us an email. Let us know what you would like us to cover for our next Drunk History episode. Also, let us know which member of NSYNC or the Backstreet Boys you would like to marry and why. And that's it for us.
That's it. Bye, 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 bye.
Bye, 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 bye.